Well, now we've come to it. The most controversial cartoon on this list. Coal Black and the Sebben Dwarfs was released in 1943 through Warner Brothers. The cartoon was ultimately well received when it first came out. But as the years have gone on, it's been met with pushback and accusations of racial stereotyping. Director Robert Clampett first came up with the idea after attending an all-black stage production called Jump for Joy. Clampett got to meet the cast and crew, to which they respectfully asked him why there wasn't more black representation in Warner Brother cartoons. Clampett admitted that he had no answer, so he set out to change that. To study the culture, Clampett and his colleagues took a trip to Club Alabama, a nightclub catered to black Americans. Bob took us into downtown Los Angeles, into the nightclub section, to watch the latest dances and pick up some atmosphere. Some of it was pretty funny stuff that we actually used in the picture. Real tall guys dancing with real short little women, and they'd swing their legs right over the tops of their heads. It's said that around this time, there was talk of a brand new Broadway musical coming soon called Carmen Jones, an all-black World War II adaptation of the iconic opera, Carmen. It's possible that this bit of information is what gave Robert Clampett the idea to make his cartoon an all-black adaptation of Snow White set in World War II. And since the Disney version was still considered the definitive version, Clampett chose to make his version a parody. So I guess you could say this is quite possibly the very first Disney parody that Warner Brothers ever did. The title was originally going to be called So White and the Sebben Dwarfs, since the lead's name in the cartoon was So White. However, producer Leon Schlesinger objected, fearing that the title sounded too similar to the Disney version and could possibly open up a lawsuit. So the title was changed to Coal Black. It opens with a mother telling a story to her daughter about an evil queen who wishes upon her magic mirror for a handsome prince. When the prince arrives, however, he becomes more attracted to her daughter, So White. Full of jealousy, the queen puts a hit out on So White in retaliation. But instead, the hitman drops So White off in the forest, leaving her in the hands of 7 dwarfs who have enlisted in the U.S. Army. One of the first things you'll notice about this cartoon is how energetic it is. This has Robert Clampett drawn all over it. It's some of the most upbeat, exaggerated, stretchy, crazily expressive animation I've ever seen. The very cartoon itself feels like it's dancing at times. Clampett originally wanted an all-black jazz band called Eddie Beals and his orchestra to provide the music for the short. But again, Leon Schlesinger turned it down. Why pay extra money for an outside jazz band when the studio already had its own orchestra on payroll? That being said, Warner Brothers composer Carl Stalling did meet with Eddie Beals and his orchestra to try and get a feel for the right type of jazzy tone to fit the cartoon. Clampett was also able to sneak Eddie Beals and his band into the cartoon with the music that went along with the True Love kiss at the finale. Another thing that makes this cartoon a milestone is the casting. Until this point, black voice actors were usually cast as understudies. This cartoon was created with the intent of casting black actors in the lead roles from the beginning. So White is voiced by Vivian Dandridge, the sister of Oscar-nominated actress Dorothy Dandridge. Their mother, Ruby Dandridge, voiced the role of the evil queen, while Prince Charming was voiced by Leo Zoot Watson, and Lillian Randolph, best known for It's a Wonderful Life, as well as the voice of Mammy Two Shoes in the Tom and Jerry cartoons, voiced the roles of both of the mother and daughter in the opening. And what's a Warner Brothers cartoon without Mel Blanc? And like I said, when the short first premiered in January of 1943, it was well received. Thomas Bradley, the future mayor of Los Angeles, saw the short while serving in France during World War II. He spent the rest of his life praising it as his favorite cartoon of all time. In 2019, veteran animator Floyd Norman praised the short as a masterpiece, recalling that Clampett was given a standing ovation by a predominantly black audience in the city of Oakland. I haven't found any evidence to back this up, at least online, but one source does claim that Vivian Dandridge actually wrote a personal note to Robert Clampett in the 1970s, thanking him for the opportunity to play a part in such an important cartoon. If anybody knows any reliable source with evidence of this, please leave a comment below. However, it didn't take long for the criticism to start. In April of 1943, the civil rights organization NAACP protested the cartoon, calling for it to be withdrawn. It's also said that the Japanese used the dwarf segments as war propaganda against the United States. Finally, in 1968, United Artists selected this cartoon, as well as 10 other Warner Brothers shorts, to be banned from future re-release on television and eventually home media as well, known as the Censored 11. I'm not the biggest fan of censorship, especially when it comes to history. By censoring projects like this, we run the risk of them becoming completely forgotten one day. I ultimately believe that Robert Clampett and his team had good intentions when they were working on this cartoon. But don't take my word for it, and especially not the word of today's society. This is the age of the internet, so the short is much easier to come by. Go and check out the cartoon for yourself, and make your own judgment.